Okay, it is 6:38 p.m. on Tuesday, April 1st, 2025. Calling this meeting of the Westport School Committee to order. If we could stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Under Mass General Law, Chapter 38, Section 20F, this meeting is being recorded. We'll start first with comments and statements from the public. Seeing none, we'll move on to our informational agenda. We'll start with our student representatives.
Good evening, school committee and everyone else in attendance this evening. I have a small amount of news to share with you about our middle school, starting off with academics. The third term will be coming to a close on Monday, April 7th. Term 3 report cards will be available on the community portal by Friday, April 11th. MCAS testing has begun, and grades 7 and 8 will be testing in ELA on April 8th and 9th, and grades 5 and 6 will be testing in ELA on April 10th and 11th. Now for some other topics. The spring dance for 5th, 6th, and 7th grade will be held on Friday, April 11th from 6 to 8 p.m. The dance will be casual attire, Mr. Monist will be the DJ, and there will be pizza, drinks, snacks, and candy available for purchase. Tickets are $5 and will be sold at lunches on April 10th and 11th. Permission slips will be coming home soon. There is an important Guardian student meeting for the 8th grade Washington, D.C. trip on Wednesday, April 9th at 6 o'clock p.m. The Middle School Student Council is holding a donation raffle for Forever Paws Animal Shelter. It will be ending this Friday, April 4th. You can donate items from a wish list and earn raffle tickets for a food and fun gift basket valued at over $100. Donations can be dropped off every morning from 7 o'clock to 7:30 in the cafeteria or any other time at Mrs. Tripp's or Mrs. Piva's classroom. Please see the latest school newsletter for the wish list. And lastly, spring sports, with the exception of lacrosse, which started last Friday, have all started this week. We wish all of our spring sport teams a great season. Go Wildcats.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rob.
Good evening, Superintendent Aubin, school committee, and all in attendance this evening. I'm going to start out with some information about what's been going on at the school. Term 3 is coming to a close, and it will end Monday, April 7th. Report cards will be posted to the community portal on April 11th. The 5th annual senior dinner was held last Friday night. Seniors and their invited staff member had a fantastic night filled with food, raffles, laughs, and karaoke. Thank you to Mrs. Rell for organizing this memorable night for our seniors, and thank you to all the staff and their generosity for donating raffle prizes, setting up, and serving dinner. Also, a special thank you to Bay Coast Bank and Lee's Supermarket for their support in this event. The seniors had an amazing night, and it will be sure to be a highlight of their year. Attention seniors, graduation yard signs are now for sale, and the cost is $20 or $25, depending on the design of the sign. Orders must be placed by Tuesday, April 29th. Emails have been sent out to all seniors with this information, and the QR code to scan for purchase is attached to that email. A reminder for seniors, the senior class trip to Six Flags is on Friday, May 9th. Permission slips are in the office and in Mrs. Avila's room. They are due by Wednesday, April 9th. The Westport Advocates and Rise Room are sponsoring the second annual Jaden Arujo Bowling Fundraiser. It will be held at Holiday Lanes on Sunday, April 13th from 4 to 6 p.m. Teams can pre-register now. The cost is $25 for 2 hours of bowling with shoes included. All proceeds go to buying Westport High School's Special Olympics t-shirts and a scholarship for Westport High School seniors. Please see Mrs. Avila, Mrs. Mello, or Mr. Marshallek for details and to sign up. Seniors, you must participate in this event in order to apply for the scholarship. Now for sports. The spring sports season is officially underway this week for all our Wildcat teams. The varsity lacrosse team started their season with an exciting home opener last Friday. The record is currently 2-0, and their next home game will be tomorrow against South Shore Technical High School. The JV also has a record of 1-0. They played yesterday. The boys varsity baseball team currently has a record of 1-0. They played Diamond today and won. The girls varsity softball team has a record of 2-0 after their wins against Bristol Aggie and Norfolk Aggie yesterday and today. The boys varsity tennis teams have had their first match at home against Dartmouth High School on Monday. Their record is currently 0-1. And lastly, the girls varsity tennis team played their first home match today against Fairhaven. They also played Dartmouth, I believe, and they currently have a record of 0-2. Good luck to all our teams, and go Wildcats.
Awesome.
Thanks, Chuck.
Thank you both very much. Thank you.
Karaoke.
Oh, I had to leave early.
Oh, man. That ain't right.
I stayed for a little bit.
Thank you.
Have a nice night.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Boys, it was very nice
Appreciate it.
working
Thank
with
you.
you the last few years. Very nice working with you. Good luck.
All right, we will now, if there's no objection, we'll take item D out of order, recognition of our two committee members who unfortunately are leaving the committee after the election next week. So they just have two things. But first, I just wanted to say that both as chair and before as a member joining the committee, it's been a true pleasure working with both of you. I've learned a lot watching both of you on the committee and watching you work.
And a
The input-
challenge.
The input that you've had, I think has been really valuable to our conversations, and I think the students and staff of Westport benefit as a result of it. So just wanted to say thank you to both of you for your commitment. We don't, this isn't it's not a paid gig, it's not a, one does it for the pay.
Am I getting
I
paid?
know. So I think it really shows commitment to this district and the community for both of you to have been so involved during your time here. So I just want to recognize that and thank you. So we have two things for each of you,
Thank
small
Thank
gift.
you, that's very
And in addition, Senator Rodericks also has citations for both of you from the State Senate, which I'll read. State Senate official citation, be it known that the Massachusetts Senate hereby extends its congratulations to Dr. Melissa Pacheco and Gloria Cabral in recognition of your years of dedication and commitment to the Westport School Committee. And be it further known that the Massachusetts Senate extends its best wishes for continued success, that this citation be duly signed by the President of the Senate and attested to and a copy thereof transmitted by the Clerk of the Senate, signed by the Senate President Karen Spilka, Clerk Mike Hurley, and offered by our State Senator Mike Rodericks.
Oh,
So
thank
for
you.
both of you.
That's really nice. So I'll just say, because no one really wants to hear me talk, but I'll just say thank you to everybody and everybody that's here, because it really takes, I know it's kind of corny, but it really takes a village to raise children, and all of you are so very important to our community. Everybody here, our teachers, our staff, our business office, our cafeteria workers. I can't, I wish I could name everybody, but my years on the committee has, I don't know, maybe that's why I feel sad today. It's nice that it's done because then, I have free time, but at the same time, it's like the end of so anyways, thank you all.
Thank you. So Melissa, we're the village people. I've had such a great learning experience for the last 3 years. It's been on the stepping stone of all the things I do. I just have to watch when I follow Evan, because it's always something else I have to get done afterwards. But this has been great with Chris and Evan and Melissa and Jay. Now I got to know Jay and everybody else. So I'd like to thank you for that. Not that I'm stopping anywhere, it's just continuing in a different path right now. But again, thank you for all you all have done, and hopefully I'll be able to come back and visit. I'm not voting, but I'm not voting now. But thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Evans.
And thank you both again, Melissa. You touched on the time that it takes. I think there's a lot of, behind the scenes that goes into a lot of the work here. Our agendas, even reading the supporting material here, getting into the budget. There's a lot involved in being a committee member, and I think, both of you really embodied, that commitment and dedication, and showed that in your participation in the meeting. So I just wanted to thank you again. Appreciate what you did. Thank you.
Evan.
Is this where I can make a motion to make it a month-long meeting?
We will have a reorg on April 15th, where we'll discuss. Is there anything else from the committee before we?
Just again, thank you to both of you, obviously for your time and dedication to the district. It was great working with both of you, although it's been a short time, getting to know you better and know you from the school committee side of things. But congratulations and thank you both again.
Thank you.
Just once again, thank you both. I really have enjoyed, even though it's only been a year, it really has been great serving with each of you, and you both offer perspectives that have just come to appreciate every meeting, and just want to say thank you very much, and hopefully neither one of you will be strangers. So.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. I realize I'm also now going to be the senior member on this committee.
The youngest one is a senior member.
All right. We'll move back to item B with superintendent's report, Mr. Robbins.
Sure, Mr. Chair, it's a two-part report. Good news first, bad news second. If it's okay, I'd like to actually have Mrs. Kaminsky read the report on the visit we had to Boston with the Mass Business Alliance this past week as a result of the incredible work that both she, Ms. Duquette, and her staff did with the high-dosage tutoring. So if that's okay with you, I'd ask Mrs. Kaminsky if she could actually report out.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Oh, I need my,
Sorry, John.
thank you. On the fly here. Okay. So, yes, we were invited a couple of weeks ago by the Honorable Edward M. Lambert, former mayor of Fall River, now executive director of the Massachusetts Business Alliance for Education, to go up to the State House to take part in a hearing on high-dosage tutoring. A couple of years ago, we worked with the state to secure funding for 30 of our kindergartners to get high-dosage tutoring for a few months, and that resulted in 93% of our kindergartners going to first grade with end of kindergarten skills, ready for first grade reading instruction. And this year, we got that support again for 30 more of our kindergartners. Executive Director Lambert invited us up there because there were two cohorts of schools that have gotten funding. So one of the cohorts was pretty much the Gateway communities, and they worked with the 1-8 Foundation, and the 1-8 Foundation underwrote their experience so that Johns Hopkins could study the results, and the results were remarkable. And then the state used some ESSER funds to support that work in other communities, and because they wanted it to be more of a cross-section of communities that had access to it. So as a rural district, we petitioned them and were pleasantly persistent, and finally they said yes. So on Thursday, March 27th, after an invitation from the MBAE, we visited the State House for a hearing about high-dosage tutoring. For 2 years, we've been successfully working with Ignite Reading to provide support to our students who need additional instruction and practice around foundational reading skills. And I want to thank the committee because if you recall, earlier in the year or last spring, you voted to use some of our remaining ESSER funds for some of the students at the West. So 11 of our students at the West are also getting tutoring every single day for 15 minutes a day from a one-on-one tutor virtually, and they are making gains. So we joined a researcher from Johns Hopkins who presented data around the impressive success of Ignite in Gateway communities, the vice president of academics at Ignite Reading, superintendents from Chelsea and Fall River, legislators and their staff who were there to learn, and invited guests from a handful of districts who've been using Ignite to accelerate success in their districts. We presented a one-pager that you have. Did you pass that out?
They have it.
Yes. We presented a one-pager that you all have that traces the timeline of work that we've been doing since 2022 around literacy. And part of that work happened before I even got here with the former curriculum director who did an intensive look at high-quality instructional materials for the elementary school with Mrs. Duquette at the time, and they selected the Wondrous program. The one-pager that you have will also post online so the community can take a look at it. I don't know if you know, but Governor Healy has allocated $25 million in her budget for high-dosage tutoring. And the hearing went a long way in educating folks about its value and efficacy. So hopefully the legislature will support this this line item in the budget, and districts will continue to get that tutoring. So what that means is that will allow 10,000 students in the Commonwealth continue to get this high dosage tutoring and really help us to continue to be the best state in the union for education. Thank you so much.
For sharing that, and appreciate your advocacy on that. And I remember, our first discussion on that in the committee, I think it was sometime last year, maybe it was last spring, when we looked at some of that baseline data and seeing where we've gone from them. I'm first of all, I'm proud that we supported it, but I'm even more proud of our staff for implementing it to the degree that they did, which I think is great.
And
it
really
shows,
shout out to the staff because they have supported the work in their classrooms. So,
Thank you.
So, Mr. Chair, I did just want to mention, so going back, again, I guess it was about a year ago when this was brought up, and thanks to Ms. Kaminsky, I went down a bit of a rabbit hole looking into a lot of the reading curriculum changes that had been made over the past year or the past years. I say this every time this comes up. I'll say it again. Thank you again for spearheading this, and thanks to our staff for implementing it. This is something that if we say it right here, actually in the one sheet, it is value evident in the data. Everything that is being done here, you can verify with quantifiable data. There is great progress here. So I just want to say thank you again for continuing the effort, and I'm glad to hear that it's made its way to the State House.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, I get to be the skunk at the lawn party, so here we go. This is hot off the presses from the Massachusetts Association of School Superintendents. I want to be abundantly clear on this. When I'm reading this, I'm not reading this for the political agenda or anything. It's simply a release that just came out, I'd say about an hour ago. We are writing on behalf of the Massachusetts Association of School Superintendents, which represents more than 700 district leaders from 276 school districts across the Commonwealth. In the 10 weeks since Inauguration Day, a barrage of directives have left our school districts and professionals who lead them in a state of upheaval, uncertainty, and fear. Like so many across the country, we are continuously trying to make sense of executive orders and federal mandates pertaining to funding, immigration, and the like. We are writing today to seek your advocacy on two critical issues related to the U.S. Department of Education. First, we are deeply troubled by the swift and irresponsible dismantling of a federal agency that plays a critical role in the oversight of public education. While we recognize that a great deal of authority rests with state and local bodies, the United States Department of Education has numerous roles and responsibilities that must be upheld. We are extremely concerned about the more than $2 billion in federal education funds currently awarded to Massachusetts to the United States Department of Education. Last year, schools received more than $285 million in Title I grants alone, the largest source of federal funds for K-12 schools to educate students from low-income families. Through Title II, Massachusetts received more than $30 million last year to support effective instruction, like you're looking at there, including innovation programs to enhance teacher performance. Title III grants enable our schools to educate a growing population of English learners, and we currently have 14 English learners here at Westport. Our communities rely heavily on funding through the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, including resources for early intervention in preschool programs, as well as special education services for students through the age of 21. Massachusetts continues to lead the way in career and technical education, offering innovative technical vocational programs to prepare our graduates for successful careers. And again, thanks in large part to the work of Laura Charette, Lisa Kaminsky, Regina Mercer, and I don't want to miss somebody, but a whole bunch of other people. I'll include Mr. Toma in his work with the Z-Space computer. We are offering vocational in a different way that I believe has allowed us to enroll more students than we've ever had before. That, or within my tenure, I'll leave it at that. Most critical, second, we have outrage that school districts were blindsided last week by Secretary McMahon's sudden decision to repeal the extensions that were granted to the spend federal pandemic relief funds. Under this reversal, Massachusetts stands to lose nearly $106 million in American Rescue Plan and elementary and secondary school emergency relief. In some cases, US DOE had approved the deadline to extend for the use of those funds. Now 20 school districts in nearly every region of the state, including the South Coast, are scrambling to account for the potential loss of funds that have been spent or earmarked for pandemic recovery investments, including tutoring and other academic supports, mental health services, and facilities projects such as air quality improvement and security upgrades. And this is real. And the reason I'm saying it's real is because the schools in our area that have been impacted, New Bedford is seeing a $15.6 million clawback of their funds. Fairhaven is seeing $250,000 clawed back. Greater Fall River Vocational School District, to use the vernacular diamond, is receiving a clawback of $115,000. And like I said, Fairhaven was $250,000. New Bedford was $15.6. I want to point out that Westport, if they were to try and claw back, they'd be clawing back 54 cents. And that is an unbelievable credit to the business office and the school committees, past and present, that saw the need to use this money. And I want to make it abundantly clear, not only was the money spent well, but it was spent with the future in mind. The next pandemic comes, we don't have to buy 200 rabbits, air purifiers, because we have them sitting and ready to go. In fact, some of them are still keeping our classrooms safe. We spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on UV lighting in an effort to make sure that the common areas at both the MAC and the West had more protections for the students and staff. And I think it's played a role in the attendance of our students and our staff. So, you know, I could go on ad nauseum about this. You read this stuff, people don't think you're serious about it. This is dead serious right now. And we better keep an eye on the Title I in particular, because that is, we get hit on Title I, even at 25%, again, over $100,000. So it is a credit to the business office. And sitting next to me, I want to give a huge shout out to Michelle and her staff, because what they did was absolutely amazing with that ESSA funding. And it should be recognized by this community on the great job that this school district, the staff, and the business office did to ensure that those funds were used, and used not only for the students of today, but for the students of tomorrow as well. And with that, I yield.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The only comment I'll make is that obviously we'll see what happens with the funding that we're currently receiving, and then go from, I know this came up during the Finance Committee meeting when we were there, particularly on the formula grants that we have. So we'll, I guess, see how that shakes out. Yes.
Thank you. So I would just like to say that that is a real issue. I mean, there's a number of them, but the funding of education, both higher ed and our K through 12, is a concern, and there are ways of getting involved in order to advocate on behalf of our students. So, you know, look for those areas if that's of interest to you, because it has the potential to decimate our education and our students moving forward. Thank you.
And Chair Gendro, they are also in the narrative talked about rural funding too. So that is another area that we're going to have to keep an eye on, because Westport does receive rural aid. So.
And through you, Mr. Chair, I do have one question of the superintendent. So you mentioned, I think it was 54 cents. Did I get that right?
That is correct.
So I assume there are no outstanding ESSER funds right now that have not been spent or earmarked.
54
There's a lot
cents.
of, I know New Bedford in particular, that was earmarked for a new, I think, was it a health center?
Yeah, I know,
or
they did the
something?
kitchen,
Something
right?
They did
to
a
get-
central kitchen as well.
Central
I don't
kitchen,
know
yeah.
if they completed it.
So I know that a lot of the districts were planning on projects and had been granted the extension. So that really is a testament to the business office.
No doubt.
Michelle, absolutely, for
Absolutely.
making sure that those got
Melissa Souza does
used
it
and
all.
used
She
well.
keeps
Oh,
us
no,
that
I don't want to
into
hear it.
every-
It's the whole
every
office.
dime. But no, we work together as a team, so I think working together with all the schools, seeing what everybody's needs were, and what the students' needs were, was really the focus. We had plenty of meetings that we would make sure that we've covered all the buildings and what the needs of the students were. We spent right down from athletics all the way up, so it was not just
Yeah,
academic.
I mean, even the beautiful sign outside the West was, you know, hugely important. We could not have afforded that without these funds, so.
All right, we will move to item C, Westport Community Schools bill warrant dated 4/4/2025, $289,601.56. I reviewed it, looked through the voices. I don't know if there's any comments from the committee on this before we move on. All right. Moving to item E, committee liaison reports. We'll start with Mr. Thrasher, reserving the superintendent for that agenda
I
item.
was just about to say, Mr. Chair, we'll wait till the next agenda item. I will mention, although technically this one's your thunder, but I'll steal it right quick. With the long-term building committee, there will be a community meeting on the 10th, which is next Thursday night. It'll be at the old high school. I believe it's going to be in the media center. And this meeting will go over some of the proposals, or I shouldn't say proposals, but some of the ideas that are being kicked around with RJB Architects as part of their review and feasibility study as to potentially using the old high school building for something other than what it's currently being used for. And I think that it's going to be it's kind of going to be a collaborative approach, very interested in community feedback, and I think they're going to set up stations with a different presentation, like project boards in different sections of the media center. So looking forward to that. Again, that's going to be Thursday the 10th at, I believe it is going to be at 6:30. And if you'll give me 1 second, I will be sure to make sure that is correct. But I'll get back to you on the exact time. But again, it'll be Thursday night, the 10th.
Thank you. Anything, Gloria?
Not all year, thank you.
I do not have any updates.
Nothing besides what I'm sure Chris will get to with the superintendent search subcommittee.
All right. The only one I had is the audit committee is scheduling a meeting likely for the first week of May, probably the 5th. But we'll keep you posted when we get a date, and keep you posted on what comes out of that meeting. We had the audit report that was released. No material weaknesses were identified in it. There were some items to watch that were consistent with some previous years as well. That was all. So we'll schedule a meeting in May, and I'll update the committee at that point. All right, we'll go to item F, the Superintendent Search Committee update. Mr. Thrasher, I'll defer to you as the chair of that subcommittee.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. So we have met several times. The latest meeting was on Monday. Again, thanks to everyone who is attending these meetings. We do have interviews scheduled for next week. I believe we'll be interviewing 5 candidates, and we are wanting to move forward with posting a superintendent survey to the community, both the Westport Schools community, the Westport Schools community, as well as the town of Westport at large. I've passed around a draft survey, basically just to have 20 different qualities, and we're asking people to rank their top 5, also to identify what part of the community they are in, whether they're a parent, teacher, or member of the community, and also, of course, a place for some additional comments as well. So the idea is this is going to be a Google form, and would like to post a link not just through school channels, but also on the town website as well. So we did discuss this on Monday. It was, I guess, approved by the committee, by the subcommittee. And if anybody has anything they would like to add or change about this, please feel free. So.
Looks great.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's good that we're using this as a method to get community input. I think that's important in the process. Looking forward to, the results and seeing how that plays out in the interview process and how the committee's interpretation of it. So looking forward to the committee's involvement in that. You partly answered my question on how it's going to be disseminated. So you said the town website.
So we're hoping to put a link on town website, as well as whether it's through an email newsletter or the school website, all the above perhaps. So yeah, we're trying to get it disseminated far and wide as quickly as possible. I also just want to give a shout out to Ms. Charette here, who at first, came up with 20 qualities, and at first I was thinking, oh, we'll just rank all 20, and then I went back and forth, and she assured me we'd get better data with a top 5 ranking, and I think she is absolutely correct. So.
Good job, Laura.
Yes, good call indeed. So, but no, I'm excited to get the feedback, and we are, like I said, we're looking forward to the interviews next week, and we're still I'd say close to the timeline that we're looking at, and certainly should be good by the June deadline, shall we say.
Great.
So.
Very good. Thank you. Are there any questions, comments from the committee on that? All right. Item G, so I guess related to that item, there were some resignations from the search committee. So I would recommend that we fill those at this time. What I would say is, going forward, I think if there are vacancies, I think that's unfortunately just, we'll have to have the committee the way it's at because of the timelines and the way the interviews are scheduled. So because it's only gone through the screening and not the interviews, I think we should fill them, at this meeting, so we can move forward with having a full committee going through that interview process, which I think is important.
Are the openings in those spots like our parent or whatever?
It's kind of everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah, so I would, my proposal to the committee would be that we appoint Anne Hathaway, Nancy Tavares, Rick Monis, and Christopher Dunn to the committee to fill those vacancies.
And Mr. Chair, I say again, just with the timing, we like I said, we've had some resignations. I think that this is a tremendous undertaking as far as the time commitment. So certainly understand if not working with some, but I would also just like to reiterate, we will not be starting over with the process. This is simply to fill these spots before the interviews, since we do have interviews coming up. And our goal is to meet on Thursday. Actually, the meeting's already been posted. We'll be meeting in executive session to get the new committee members up to speed. So at this time, Mr. Chair, I will move that those individuals you mentioned be added to the superintendent search committee.
Second, was that a motion?
That is a motion.
Okay,
yes.
so second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion on this item?
I'd just like to say, if for some reason they can't do it, I think we just need to move ahead, right? That's,
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, I would think that only because the interviews haven't been done yet, I think
Right,
is
absolutely.
why I'm certainly looking
Agree.
at filling them. Is there anything further? All right. Hearing none. All in favor?
aye.
Opposed? That carries. And we will move to item H, out-of-school time pay rates / benefits and job description. Ms. Jobs is here. I will just note for the committee, I will abstain from discussion and vote on this because I have a relative that works at the program, so I will abstain from this. But Ms. Jobs will present, and then the committee I can facilitate discussion, but the committee is welcome to ask questions.
Hello, good afternoon. A few things on the table today. So out-of-school time pay rates, benefits, and then job descriptions. So probably makes sense to go in job description order first. I know you have a copy of each of those. I do want to state these are all existing roles. There's not a new position added.
No changes to the job descriptions as well, or?
The only change is the actual title.
Okay.
And that's based on EEC recommendation.
Understood.
Yes. So these are all existing.
What were the titles before?
So as an example, where you see assistant group leader, the first one, which is your high school student, it was childcare assistant. Second one, group leader, was childcare educator, yes. So when EEC comes to do their monitoring visits, they kind of give you feedback on all sorts of things. One of the things was to be more consistent with what the EEC on in most sites, has for their roles in out-of-school time programs. So we just want to change the titles to be more in line with that.
And these are all part-time positions, right? This is, because it's
These are all
after school.
part-time. Yep. I don't know if anybody has any discussion specifically on any of them.
Any comments?
And I've learned, you're doing the program, so you run it full-time, and the kids are all, so do you have a lot, we've looked at these, well, it's probably not the roles, it's probably after that. You have a lot of kids doing the program? I haven't,
Yes, so we're at capacity right now. Right now, we have 105 children.
Is there a wait list at this time as well? Because I saw a post saying,
I did put yes, so there's a wait list already for 25-26 school year. So the kids that are currently enrolled in the program get first priority. After that, I put it out to the community. Based on what I received in those numbers from preschool up to 4th grade, I'm at capacity for morning and aftercare. A few slots in preschool and a few slots left in kindergarten, but 1 through 4 are maxed out.
is this at close to the 105 number? Or, I mean, I know this is for the next school year, but what's the number that you're looking at as being capacity?
Right
Spe-
now, so right now I have 90 kids enrolled for this school year.
For this, okay.
And I have 105 kids right now. That being said, what I think is going to come in through kindergarten and pre-K will probably bring me back up to the 105.
Understood.
Yeah.
Any further comments, questions on the job descriptions?
Mr. Chair, I'll ask a question I know the answer to. This comes out of
Revolving
a
account.
revolving account.
Yes.
Not the general budget. Is that
I
correct?
actually was just going to say that, but yes. Revolving account, never out of the school budget.
and you come out of the school budget.
No, I
right?
don't.
All from the revolving account?
Yeah, so myself, the program coordinator, and then any staff underneath are,
It's like your own little.
yes. Supplies, everything comes from there. So,
If I may, it also includes a little custodian, I believe, if I'm not mistaken,
Right,
and
some of the
also
business
some
office,
business
some of the
office
custodians.
funding as well.
So really what doesn't come out of that department is really just overhead as far as heating, electricity, lawn maintenance, things of that nature.
if you want to go, any other questions? No. So out-of-school time rates and merit increases is the next one. It was easier for Kristen and I, and thank you, Kristen, for your help with this, and Melissa, who's not here, but she helped a lot with this as well. I don't know if you remember, we used to go by a step process. Essentially, everybody just moving up every year. Step 1, Step 2, Step 3, Step 4. I think Step 4 was the highest. Former school committee member, at one point, maybe a couple years ago, kind of put into my ear that having a merit-based increase or evaluation for an increase was kind of the way, was a good structure to look at, and I agree that that was how we should eventually do it, considering we're not part of a union and we have the ability to be flexible like that. So these are rates that we would like to be effective as of July 1st. And the first box are for new hires. So that first box is new hires. You'll see your assistant group leader, and then site coordinator / behavior support assistant. 0 to 1 years, 2 to 4, and then 5+. That would be anybody coming in on July 1st. The middle box is a current staff on July 1, and then a merit increase. Kristen, that's right, it would be July 1, 2026.
So this year, we just go with the standard
2%.
2%.
Yes.
Because we'll be introducing a
The-
performance evaluation system that will be tied to these merit increases, which will be new for everyone. So we want to get through one full cycle of performance evaluations and then assigning increases based on performance in the job, which is the bottom chart. So that's what's a little bit different, is that you can see that the merit increase percentage is higher with a higher performance level. But we didn't want to make that effective 7/1/25 because this is a new system. We want to get through a whole evaluation cycle with everyone and then assign those merit increases based on their performance in that.
You have like a
time period.
checklist or something to say, okay, they did professional development, they did all that stuff.
So the evaluation tool is being created right now, and it's all based off of health and safety guidelines and requirements by EEC. So when that evaluation tool is complete, I can actually send it to Lori to send to the committee if you'd like to see that.
Not anymore, but
Oh,
yeah.
well, yes, I'm sorry. But if you do want to see, if anyone wants to see the tool, that tool will then give a score. And based on that score, you'll see at the bottom, the needs improvement meets or exceeds, and that's where they would fall in line with their increase, rather than just bumping people up every year on July 1st.
Right, I understand that, but I just worry about, somebody says, they got to hire one because they like me better, and I've seen that before on merit. They don't like me, so they're not giving me a higher raise, and it creates a problem with any of this. People will just be with that. So that's why I wonder, like, if, okay, you did this, and this is showing you're exceeding. That's why I was wondering about a checklist type thing.
So it's very cut and dry. So I don't have any wiggle room with the health and safety standards.
Yeah.
As an example, if someone is continuously doing their checks, their attendance checks, I spot check that. So that's a very, like, cut and dry, right? So they either do it or they don't. I'm not necessarily worried about that because it's all spelled out for us from EEC. So it's just, here's what they need to do, and then they're being scored.
Okay.
Yes.
And Jen, most of the categories, they're tied to the EEC standards.
They all are. They all are.
Okay.
So, through you, Mr. Chair, I do have a couple of questions. I don't want to go back to the job descriptions for a second, but I just want to check on the
Sure.
on the built-in the merit increase schedule here.
Okay.
So, have you, based on, well, actually, let me step back. First question: has the cost fluctuated as far as what is charged either to the vouchers or to the parents over the last few years? Has it gone up every year, or?
So our private rate increase, our private rate tuition went up last year
Okay.
per afternoon. So it went from 25 to 30. This upcoming year, there is no increase.
Okay.
To a parent, what I've gotten as an increase from PACE, out of that $30 per afternoon, I'm now getting $26 and say 50 cents per child that has a voucher.
Okay. So realistically, it's not implementing this is not going to affect the capacity as far as or the bad. I mean,
Correct.
It,
Yep.
it's been gamed out a little bit so that, yeah.
And you take a
Okay.
percentage, right? Isn't it percentage of PACE, percentage of private, or how was your, or do you take more kids that are PACE, or, I don't know, how many kids when they come in class? Is there a,
No, it's not even a percentage. It's based on ratio. So I know when I have a certain number of staff, I can only have a certain number of kids. If I had another staff member, I would add 13 more kids. But because I don't have that, I have to cap off.
yeah, do you give the opportunity for staff to have their children there? Because sometimes there's benefits to that. Like someplace, I know at BC, if you had a child on a summer program, they would go free. And then they would do it that way to help, give a break to staff.
The incentive for a staff to have their children is 50% of the cost, so a discount of 50%. And that's both morning, they can have their children morning there, they can drop off as early as 7. They can have their child there till 5:30 if they do aftercare. I don't really have any staff that's ever utilized it for the summer because they're with their children.
Yeah.
But morning is I probably have 8 teachers or so that are utilizing morning program, and it's 50%, so it's a reduction,
It's a
half.
savings, yeah.
Yep.
So, if I may, I just wanted to ask about the job descriptions. Did these come, and through you, Mr. Chair, I'll ask Ms. McDaniel, did these come from recommended job descriptions at all, or this all?
Jen actually got them a lot of the information from EEC, correct?
Yes, so EEC will give me, I'm assigned a monitor, essentially the person that licenses the program. Through her, Nicole, I asked her what was the best route to go. In order to get these job descriptions, they're very similar to the YMCA, Boys and Girls Club, your standalone sites. If they're licensed by EEC, they're almost the exact job description.
Okay. So, The only concern I have, and if other programs, similar programs do the same, then
Sure.
it's less of a concern. But I do see a couple of mentions on, under classroom support, talking about preparing materials and setting up learning environments for activities, lesson plans and curriculum implementation. And my concern is that this program, the out-of-school time program, is explicitly not instruction time.
It is not, correct. It is not instruction time. However, it is an EEC regulation that you have to have some sort of curriculum. Now, it falls under their guidelines. It's not academics, but it's a play-based learning. So when staff begin at the out-of-school time program, they need to take a training from EEC. It's got about 9 modules on it. One of those is about planning curriculum, play-based learning, because in fact, when EEC comes for their unannounced visits, the one thing they do not want to see is children in seats. And so we have art curriculum there, we have music, we have yoga. Those are all encompassing of what the curriculum would be.
Understood, okay. Well, as I said, my concerns are alleviated if other job descriptions and other programs are similar, and that it would make sense. I just wanted to make sure that distinction was.
No, yeah, it's a definite expectation, not on the high school student, but as a group leader, that they plan something every day. Doesn't have to be crazy, go crazy, but they definitely have to have something for the kids to be planned every day, in addition to the offering. So in addition to the yoga, the art, physical activity, obviously over there at the former high school, we have that big gym, but they are absolutely expected to plan something, yes.
Gotcha, okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
Further than that?
So I'd like to make a motion to approve the pay rate / benefits and job description for the OST program.
Melissa, I just have to get to the benefits.
Oh, thought that was, okay.
Well,
No, that's okay.
Is
There's
there a
one more
second on
sheet.
that motion? Or
I'll
not?
second.
All right, it's been seconded. You can continue.
Okay.
Just wanted- So we have it.
Last
Whole
page.
discussion.
Last page are the out-of-school time benefits. So, if you look at the top, so vacation, there's 1 week in August that we close that, to parents, we don't offer care. So because the out-of-school time program runs from January through December, we, at one point, maybe probably a few years ago, I'm not remembering when, it was decided by the committee to give that last week, the week before school starts for the kids, to the staff to have off. So what we are proposing is that for anyone that's been in the program for 1 year, in year 2, all the employees will get something that week. So how we did it last year, again, asking for the same this year, this is a new benefit package that we're kind of putting together here. Whatever they worked for hours in the past 6 months, Melissa goes back with payroll, takes the 6-month average, and if they worked an average of 15 hours over the past 6 months, they will get 15 hours of pay for that week we are closed. And if somebody worked, there are people that actually, do have 5 and 6 hours a week on payroll. They just want to work a day or two, then that's what they would get paid that week.
And what on here is different from last year?
Right to the bottom, the sick time.
Just a second, okay.
So right now, the employees they don't get anything for sick time. So we're proposing that after 1 year in working it out of school time, in year 2, only a position that would work 20 plus hours, obviously minus myself, the program coordinator, after 1 year getting 5 days, after 5, 10, after 10, 15, should that occur. Right now, it only affects 2 employees out of 22 employees. So we're asking that they at least be able to get that benefit.
Is there anything,
That's it.
any other comments, questions from the committee?
I think just the only concern, obviously, with it being a self-sustaining program in terms of funding, and what they take in is if we can encompass all this you know, if our staff members in the program all say, you know, gain the experience to get up to the, you know, to the top levels, will it continue to be self-sustaining?
So I can tell you that.
Or are we,
That's okay.
are we free to make our own decisions or increases in tuition costs to offset that? Or is there like an EEC mandate or something like that?
There's not an EEC mandate. I really go based on what's around us and local tuition rates, knowing that it's been self-sustaining. I mean, I don't know what it was like before I started, right? I don't know where that number was. But right now, there's $30,000 in that account. Even the cost to the monthly, the added cost on a 2% for all employees is an additional $3,600 a year. So I'm not concerned really about not being able to then give these increases. If that, is that kind of what you're referring to? Yeah.
And just to check, this is not contractual beyond a single year, right? This is approved every year? Or
No, we don't approve that every year. We're bringing this now.
This is, okay, so this is.
Yes.
Okay.
So what we did do, what Melissa and I did, was we actually took somebody at a pretty high, like one of the higher rates right now, and gave them, as an example, like a 2%, 3% across. For them to get to the highest level or step, it would actually take us out 4 years. So maybe we'd be back here 4 years revisiting kind of this structure. Does that?
For existing staff.
For existing staff, correct, yes.
Now, how does your OST salary match with the district union salaries in that same type of?
I can't speak to the
They're not-
union.
Is that what you need?
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, no, they're not equivalent. These are lesser.
I would guess much less. Again, I don't know, but
I didn't bring the contract with me, but yeah, if you're comparing it to a TA, they're significantly less.
I was just thinking about the benefits. Those aren't accumulating, right? They're each year, like 5 days after year one, and then they go away. Right? They're not
Correct.
accumulating.
correct.
What was the thought process about? Because I don't know that I typically see. Well, maybe, but you know, after 1 year they get 5 days. After 5 years, 10 days. After 10 years, 15 days. So each year they just go away at the end of the year, and they restart.
Yes, I believe it was a use it or lose it type of thing.
So they'll usually use it.
And then you'll have, like, I would assume, like, specific, do you know, because it's different than almost like vacation. So, like, when you think about vacation, usually, you know, something like that is increased because, you know, you've been somewhere longer, then you get, you know, more, the benefit of more vacation time. But sick time, while it is a benefit, it's not, like, you can only take it if you're sick. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's different
Yes,
than
yes.
vacation time. So typically, I would see that as vacation, not sick. So was there a reason why it was done sick versus something else? Like personal, or, I don't,
No, I was just kind of hearing staff over the past couple of years say, you know, when we need to be out sick, we don't have the ability to ever get paid for our hours on some days. So I kind of brought that to the table because they don't have benefits, or that, you know, they have that 1 week of the averaged out hours, but over 6 months, yeah. But we don't have anything. So really, this was just like what we came up with. Yeah.
Something.
what you sometimes, and I'm not saying that this is here, but what you sometimes find is if someone has 15 days, they're gonna use it. Because they're not gonna lose it, use it or lose it, right? So, but that's why it's usually like sick or personal, so,
Are you kind of referring to like a PTO, like paid time off like?
yeah, but at the same, it all depends on what the goal of that was. If
Yeah.
you know, if you're thinking, well, if someone is there quite a while and then they start getting sick, yeah, they should get the sick time. Okay, then that makes sense.
Mhm.
But if the goal was to give a benefit of a couple of extra days, then maybe after 5 years, rather than 5, 10 sick days, maybe it's 5 sick days and 5 personal or something. Just a thought, like, I'm okay with approving it as is. It's just, as I started to think about it, I'm like, I don't know if that's the best way to go.
I think,
Yeah, and I see your point. Another way to look at it is if you have a longer-term employee that has a disability for a period of time, then, then they've got at least 15 days. That's
they can do that with,
longer-term
can't they do that with FMLA?
Well, it's not paid, though,
It's not
but this
paid.
would be paid.
employee. Right.
Okay.
If you have to substitute, but, it's just
Okay.
different ways of
Yep, that's
looking
fine.
at
I
it.
just throwing it out there.
It's a good point, yes, particularly with the use it or lose it.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
So, one question I did want to check, you mentioned you had employees that say only work 5 hours a week or something, maybe a couple hours a day or something.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to check, when we talk about 5 days, is that based on an hourly situation, or is it just whatever you're scheduled for on that day? How is that spelled out?
Correct. So if the person that I'm thinking of, let's say, works a 4-hour shift.
Over 5 days.
Yes.
So,
They're only going to get paid what they would actually work
What
on that
actually
day.
would have been- okay,
Yes.
gotcha.
And keep in mind, this is only for people that work 20 plus hours. So out of 22 people, it's going to affect 2.
Gotcha, okay. All right. That's just my question.
Good.
Did the information in the discussion impact your
No.
motion at all?
No, I
Okay.
don't think so. I would say that, this is the first year that you're putting it through. I would say, take a look at it. If after that you think it should be something different, then, if you need to bring it back to the committee, do that. But that was just kind of like a brainstorming thing that I was throwing out there.
And no, I do appreciate that because we didn't. It wasn't like that wasn't the thought at the time, but yes, I understand it. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm still okay with it going the way it
Can this
is.
be made like a 1-year, or 2-year contract to see it and look at it in 2 years? And see if it's going to be abused or not? We talk about that because we don't take sick days, right? So we don't take sick days.
Certainly,
But a lot of
whatever the
people-
committee feels like, if you want us to come back in a couple of years to do this, it can be
If it's-
approved. It can be approved from July 1, 25 to
27?
27.
Yeah, that way you can, well, I won't be, again, but it would be a way to see, is it working, is it not, is it abusive, it's not. Like, we've seen it when we take the attendance
Mm-hmm.
of we get the monthly attendance, and you'll see, okay, now we're getting to May, oh, everybody's sick now,
Mm-hmm.
because they'll be out in June, so you want to see, if you get a year or 2, then you can say, okay, this is working great, can we continue it? And that way, at least you'll have some kind of, your data of what's working and what's not.
Yeah, no, I think, it's easy to track for me because it's just those 2 people.
Yeah.
So that's,
But it's a good start.
yeah, yes.
So I'd like to modify my motion to approve for a 1-year time period. Also, I'm going to have to separate it because everything can be approved except for the benefits. Right?
Well, you're saying
Well, you
the
can-
problem
you-
is if you do it for a 1-year process-wise, it would impact because it's kind of.
That's
a
what I'm saying.
phase-in
So,
thing.
If I may, I'm just wondering, that program being a revolving account has even more significant eyes on it because obviously the fluctuation of the money that is, comes in and is allocated out. Typically, if there was any type of issue that would require the school committee's attention, I'm sure that Mrs. Shavs and her people would come to the committee and say, we may need to talk about this to modify something. Again, I don't want to speak for her, but,
yeah.
I'm trying to hope that would clear up your,
Well, no, I agree, but I think it would make sense to put that 1 year for the sick time benefit, because then it's the committee saying that we've approved, you've gotten that sick time
Yeah, the benefit.
proposal approved for 1 year. So you can also let the employees know that this is going to be a trial period for like a year, and then, because if it changes, then they know it has that ability to change. I mean, it might not, you might decide, or for 2 years. Did you say 1?
I said 2.
2,
The
okay.
2 gives it a little bit
So,
of,
I'd like to withdraw my motion and make a new motion. I've never done this, so I guess this is great that it's happening today. Is this a trick? There's a camera. There's
April
a camera
Fools.
here. So I'd like to make a motion to approve the merit schedule, the pay, and the job descriptions for the OST program. So it's going to be two motions. That's the first one.
Do you want to do it and want to modify it, or do you want to do it separate?
So I'm doing a whole new motion. The first motion is to just approve the pay rate
Not the.
and the
okay.
job
That's next
descriptions.
Without the, okay.
Yes.
Second.
I'll second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
You could have said something.
Aye.
One abstention.
I'd like to make a second motion to approve the out-of-school time benefits for a period of 2 years beginning on July 1st.
Second.
Okay, motion is made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
And one abstention.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Sorry
you.
about that.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Schausford.
Yes, thank you. Since this is my I just want to say thank you for all that you've done for that program and for the people who work there. It's an incredible benefit for our parents and our students that they have a place to go before and after school and in the summertime. So thank you for everything.
Okay, moving to item I, discussion of school choice for the 26 school year. We have Mr. Aguirre here, Ms. Duquette, and Ms. Charette. Thank you for joining us. This is a continuation of our discussion at the last meeting. So, we can, if the committee has specific questions, we can direct them. What I would ask of the building principals is their recommendations on these. So I know that they're noted here. I know in the high school, you're looking at just 9 and 10 at that level. Mr. Aguirre, if I recall your, what you said last time correctly, you said there may be some capacity at the 4th grade level, but the other grades you wouldn't recommend.
Correct.
And then Ms. Duquette, again, if I recall correctly, you said you wouldn't recommend for the Macomber, correct? Okay. All right. Is there any questions for building principals?
I do have a question for Mr. Aguirre. So you mentioned that you think there is some room in the 4th grade. Is that 10 number what you would recommend at this point, or at least
I would
be
say
comfortable with?
that we have 6 teachers in the 4th grade and 5 in the others. So the 10 would be if you separate it out amongst the 6 classes, less than 2 students. So class size wise, I think that's the only place that we have room if there was the will of the committee to add it out level. I think we still have some issues relative to school choice in general. I think we still have some issues in general with school choice is a risk. It's, you know, I serve in Fall River on the school committee. It's a risk there as well. You know, with the students that come in, you can, sometimes you take students that are ready to rock it, and sometimes you take students that are needy, and you can't really differentiate it. But that's where I feel like in the 4th grade, if we want to do it, and I think you have to vote on this every year, so I think the 10, we could have the capacity at the West.
So I will make a proposal for the committee to discuss. You don't have to agree on it, but I'll make a proposal that we, for this coming school year, and again, this is approved every year, so this can be amended next year, but I would recommend 5 in the 4th grade, 5 in the 9th grade, and 5 in the 10th grade would be my proposal to the committee. We don't have to agree on that.
Right.
Someone else can propose something different, that's fine. Whatever the pleasure of the committee is. That would be my
I like
proposal
that.
on that.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I would like to ask Ms. Charette. So I remember that you specifically talked about the issues with students coming over in the later grades of fitting in with the requirements. I know it says you're recommending no school choice for grade 11. Is that, have you encountered significant issues with this before? What I'm wondering is, could we do 5 for grade 11, or would that really be?
So this is a very particularly large sophomore class. It's the biggest in history at almost 120. Not history, that's not the right word to say, but like in recent history.
That's awesome.
So that was the main issue, because then it would really, it's already a large class. This current senior class, this current junior class is only 70, so that gives you kind of a difference in why I suggested 0 for the 11th grade.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay.
We also want to be mindful of our class sizes and keeping them, at doable ratios.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
When we last met, I was really in favor of having school choice, and then I think I've had some conversations, and then also with recent budget cuts. While I do recognize that this is a way of revenue for having students come in, I have to say that I'm really concerned with the revenue that's going to be coming through from the Department of Education and from the state, and I'm really concerned with that, and I think adding students, unfortunately, so I'm doing a 360 here, adding any students is something that I don't know that I necessarily want to do. I think if the committee wants to do 5 in 4th and 9th and 10th, I would do that, but I would almost be in favor of not doing any this year because of the significant unknown and just the state of affairs that's happening right now. So that's my kind of 5 cents.
I like the 5, just to see, like it says, you don't know what the waters are coming, but that's a doable number. We've talked about it, but you don't know what it is, so everything is like a chance. If you take more or less, you don't know if you end up taking more, and 2/3 of them are special needs. Now you're in a bigger hole. So staying with a 5 would be was it 4th, 9th, and 10th? I would agree with that one.
Mr. Thrasher, I think I cut you off before.
No.
If you have a second
Dr. Pacheco was next. At this point, I think it's important to have some spots open in especially at the high school level, and I can understand simply based on the extra teacher, I guess, that we have in the 4th grade that makes sense too. So I think at this time I am going to move, Mr. Chair, that we approve school choice for 5 students in the 10th grade, 5 students in the 9th grade, and 5 students in the 4th grade for the next school year.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Okay, a motion has been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion on this item?
Just a quick question. The current enrollment of the 3rd grade right now, that would be 4th grade next year. Do you know that off the top of your head? Is
That's right in there.
this 116? That's the number I'm looking at here? Okay, thank you.
And then the column all the way to the right divides it by 6, where you go down to the 19 number.
Gotcha, thank you.
Any further questions, comments on this item? All right.
Ms. Charette, no concern in the 5th grade with either number? Well, you don't have a choice on on the lower number, but with the additional 5 in terms
So,
of your teaching
When
load?
we met, I did say that I think 5th and 6th grade, if we were going to add school choice, 5 would be appropriate at each of those levels. I'd rather get them young and help them acclimate to the Westport Middle High School way. But it's obviously the decision of the committee on those 2 grade levels.
Thank you.
Anything further from the committee? All right, motion was made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm going to say no.
No.
Okay, that carries 3-2. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Cat, Ms. Aguirre, and Ms. Charette. Thank you. All right, item J, AFSCME memorandum of agreement. So this is just we have to announce after we approve a contract in executive session. So there was an MOA signed after following our executive on March 18th with the AFSCME bargaining unit, and it's for a position that was previously here, and is for What was the exact title, Kristen, if you?
Senior facilities and maintenance technician.
Senior Facilities and Maintenance Technician, thank you. So the committee voted to approve that, and we're announcing it today because it was approved in executive. And with that, we'll move to item K, Lightspeed update. Mr. Tomo. And I will defer on this item to Ms. Cabral, who suggested this be added to the agenda. So I'll defer it to her to.
Thanks.
Good luck, Tony.
What a great introduction. Good luck. So we've implemented the filtering piece that's been going on for at least a week, if not 2 weeks. The filtering piece was part of the implementation. The harder part was, of course, adding the grades, the classrooms, the teachers, the ability for the teachers to view the students in their classrooms. We hit a snag on yesterday. It actually began Friday afternoon, but we really worked with the company yesterday as well as today. I was on the tech support with them. We think we have that solved so that we're going to test a few teachers tomorrow to have their ability to be able to monitor their students live in their classroom. I only discovered it around 3:45 this afternoon, so it didn't give me a lot of chance to go talk to anyone else, including in my office.
And is it just in all the schools, some of the schools, any of the schools ready? Because we were going to do a pilot.
It's all or none at this moment. The same app is deployed to everybody, so it's active right now. It's just nobody knows it.
Okay.
So we need to work with the teachers beginning tomorrow to test whether it is live and usable. Once we determine that, then we will broadcast it to everybody. That some already have the instructions, but then we'll make it formal.
So they're not, as of right now, you're not SIPA compliant. You will be.
As of right now, we are filtering, so that is the SIPA compliance.
Okay.
And that has been
How's it been
implemented
working? Are you finding things, or has it been good?
So far, it's been good. We've seen various small issues with websites, but these issues are benign. For example, if they're going to a newspaper, it's not part of their curriculum, but at the same time, it's pretty benign in terms of what they're going to see. I haven't seen anything that is X-rated, if that's sort of the angle that you're looking at.
And everybody's getting trained. Your teachers get trained on how to use this. I'm learning it in Fall River, so there's a lot of things I can't get into.
Right. So we.
That's me.
Yes. You want to come over and share the mic? I have a chair right here for you.
So with the classroom management piece, we did training with the Westport Elementary School staff last month on setting up their classroom, looking at the dashboard and seeing what, the different classes that they have scheduled, like ELA, math, social studies, science. And what has to happen is the extension has to be added to each Chromebook so that the Chromebooks can communicate with the teacher computer and the teacher can see what's happening. But they do have, we have a Google Classroom for professional development, and all of the on-demand modules, the asynchronous modules, are loaded onto that classroom. So every teacher in the district has access to that training. We have specifically trained teachers at the West. They're eager to get on, and once we get the bugs worked out on that, we'll do trainings at the other schools. But yeah, so we're starting with the West staff. Everybody can use it, and I'm certainly willing to go work with individual teachers at the middle high school that want to get going with it. But we will do a school-wide training later in the year before the end of the year so they understand how to do it before we come back in the fall.
So, through you, Mr. Chair, I am curious if there is, you mentioned that the extension has to be added to each Chromebook, is that correct?
Yeah, but it gets deployed in an IT kind of way. It's not like every Chromebook has to get collected and...
Okay, that's my question.
Yeah.
So it's just, okay, good.
Mr. Toma pushed that order out to every Chromebook this afternoon, and we're hoping that, for some, we've done it a couple of times, but for some reason, their Chromebooks aren't receiving it, so we worked with tech today, and we're hoping tomorrow when teachers log on, it will be active.
Gotcha. Is
Yeah.
that the particular snag that you were referring to?
correct.
Okay, okay, gotcha.
And your IT staff is all getting trained to do that too, because I know they're doing stuff with that.
Their
Yes,
the IT staff
yes.
is actually as neck deep as I am in it. We're all collaborating together. They're gathering Chromebooks and doing the testing as well as mine on the call.
Mr. Aguirre, how was it working with the training? Was that okay? You have to come up to the speaker.
You're trying to throw me under the bus?
No, no, no. I'm going out.
I would say that our staff is eager to use it, as I mentioned at the prior meetings. On March 3rd was our staff meeting, where the staff was trained. Ms. Kaminsky had a PowerPoint. Like she said, the Google Classroom for PD was up on the board, so the people got trained. The timing, they were a little frustrated because of the snags, technically, and that's really what people are, but they're jumping at the bit, ready to go in the classroom. And when you just can't see the students, so on their site, you'll see that, like if all of us were here, they can see the names, but they don't actually see the live computer. So that's the snag that we've been trying to go through over the past month. It's almost a month now, but I would say the light's at the end of the tunnel, and they are going to be ready. People are very much interested in it. They were
Awesome.
excited about the Go Guardian before, and they're ready to go. They want to help. They want to look at things, and it's going to just help them to know what the kids are on, but also be able to see what they're doing at any given time. And I've assured them that we're going to be watching to make sure that they're not on computers all day, which they're not. There's targeted instruction, and then they're not going to be on computers all day. So there's really just those windows of opportunity for instruction. So
Great.
we're ready, and hopefully, from what I hear right now, tomorrow is the day. So
Awesome. Thank you.
thank you.
So, is there a timeline, in theory, get the bug worked out, implement it at the elementary school first? Is there a timeline as far as the rest of the district goes, to have it active and being used by teachers in the same setting?
Through the chair,
That was my question as well, so thank you.
through the chair, I just want to point out that this would normally be rolled out during the summertime. You wouldn't be rolling this out during the school year, especially in light of the fact that right now the tech department is short one person. So, they're doing what I would consider to be, as far as professional development from Mrs. Kaminsky and the IT people. I think they're doing the best they can under the pretty crushing circumstances that they're dealing with right now.
Yes. Basically tomorrow, if everything goes well, I'll meet with Mr. Aguiar, and Ms. Kaminsky, and then we'll talk about that rollout if it isn't already capable of being rolled out. From there, it's my understanding that the middle and high school would certainly need to be phased in, but we would need to meet with Laura about that to see how that would go. But I'm under the understanding that she's ready to go as soon as possible as well. And we would be as well.
Okay, so all everything going correctly, in theory, within the next few weeks, it should be rolled
Absolutely.
out district-wide in all classrooms.
Yep.
Okay, all right, good deal.
Yep, in a perfect world, it could be a week, but I don't want to, rubber stamp it as a bet.
Understood.
But yes,
Under promise, overproduce.
exactly. 6 years.
Within reason, sir.
Any further comments, questions from the committee on this? All right, thank you very much,
Thank you.
Mr. Thomas, for the update. Thank you,
Mr.
Mr.
Chair,
Roll, for recommending that item.
I would, Mr. Chair, just like to have this on the agenda for the next meeting as well, if possible, just to.
Yes.
See how it
Another
update.
Just to see how it's
Yeah,
going.
that'd be great, thank you.
All right.
All right, moving on to item L, discussion of competency determination. We have Ms. Charette here, Ms. Kaminsky here as well, to speak on this.
Sure.
Thank you.
So, since 2003, in order to get a Westport High School diploma, there needed to be two requirements that were met. The first is that you had to earn a proficiency score on the MCAS, and you had to meet the graduation requirements, which have always been approved by the school committee. With November's vote, the MCAS is no longer passing. The MCAS is no longer a requirement to receive a high school diploma. So now we have to determine our local competency determination. What does a student have to do to earn a diploma? So of course, we are still going to maintain that they need to meet the graduation requirements of our program of studies, which is approved by the committee. And they will continue to have to sit for the MCAS because we do receive state funding. Everybody has to take the MCAS. We had our first, we kicked off testing season last week, and I was so proud of how hard our students worked on MCAS, despite the fact that, people were saying, oh, it doesn't matter anymore. They worked harder this year than I think I've seen in a while. So I was super, super proud of them.
They're still eligible for the John.
Absolutely. There's still you could still be eligible for the John
Abigail
Adams Scholarship. Yes. So what we're looking for tonight is for the committee to approve the competency determination for this year, which would be fulfillment of our program of studies. And then for following years, we would come back to the table with plans that include for our special ed students. But for this year, it would just be approving the current program of studies as what would earn them a diploma. And then if that's approved, we can actually go back to any graduate who didn't receive a diploma since 2003. I've actually already had 2 people reach out to me seeking their diploma.
If I may, Mr. Chair, obviously the state is still working on what they're going to do going forward.
That was my next comment. I appreciate the proposal because I think in lieu of detailed guidance from the state on this, which I don't think has tackled this in my opinion, in a sufficient way so far, given the vote. And I have concerns too about now the removal of the requirement and what that means for, it's sort of disincentivizing students to perform well on that. So it's a difficult way to assess. That's my concern with the vote, which is beyond the control of this committee, but just as a side note. But I would say that I think that when we review our program of studies, we always have conversations on, like last year, for example, it was the senior project, among other things. So I know that we always, discuss this in detail and have conversations about this every year. So I think this is a good way to go, especially in lieu of more detailed guidance that says, without MCAS, districts have to impose another assessment system or their own. So I think in absence of that, this is probably the way to go for this school year.
And Mr. Chair, I will also point out to our community that they are concerned about making sure that accountability exists at Westport Community Schools. And I think Principal Charette and her team have done an amazing job, but she will inform even in greater detail how Westport is holding students accountable.
So Mass Core is the set of standards that Massachusetts suggests that that schools are having. We meet Mass Core in all but one area, which is the second unit of a world language. At present, we only require 1 unit. It should be noted, though, that because we are going to be offering innovation career pathway courses, those students are going to have to complete Mass Core in order to get that designation at the end of their 4 years.
So it's 90 credits to graduate. That's what I'm counting, right? Am I wrong?
You need 120 credits to graduate.
Right.
But 90 of them are required.
Oh, okay, then you can take all the other stuff and then-
Exactly.
Gotcha.
30 elective credits.
Okay, that's what I didn't see down there. I'm like, wait a minute,
And through you, Mr. Chair, there is no change in this schedule, there is
Well,
this year or so.
Just from 2 weeks ago, when the committee approved to get rid of the technology
technology,
requirement,
exactly,
but we kept in there the 20 hours of community service.
The one question that I had, also based on our discussion last meeting, was on the business personal finance requirement.
Yes.
Have you all ever considered just having any business class potentially meeting that requirement as opposed to just the personal finance, or has that ever been discussed just out of curiosity, or is it?
Well, I think because of the limitation with staff within that department, but because the committee approved the addition of a business teacher for next school year, we'll have much more wiggle room to offer additional courses. So I think we could then bring that back to the table, that it could potentially be personal finance or another business course.
We are, if I may, Mr. Chair, we are looking very heavily at financial literacy, digital literacy, and we're trying, and thanks to Mrs. Kaminsky, we're trying to embed that into many of the courses, not just because, quite frankly, a lot of the curricula aligns nicely with these courses, for lack of a better term.
So on the language piece, if the 2 isn't reflected here but is in the innovation pathway designation, does it still have to be reflected on paper in the graduation requirements for it to be considered compliant, for lack of a better term, with MassCore, or is that a separate?
No, because the majority of our students actually end up graduating with Mass Core requirements because they're taking that additional year of a world language because they're college
College-bound, yeah.
Most colleges require 2 or more years of a consecutive world language. And we can also be creative in what denotes a world language. So for example, American Sign Language can denote a world language. There are some schools that actually use coding and specific computer science classes as a world language requirement. The Mass Core definition just says it has to be 2 units of the same world language. So you couldn't take Spanish 1 and then Portuguese 1. You have to take like ASL 1, ASL 2.
If I may, Mr. Chair, vocational schools, typically technical drawing would be considered a language, a substitute for that. I would say that going forward, long after I'm gone, I think one of the considerations that certainly Mrs. Charette, as principal of the school, is going to have to consider is, and the college is going to have to consider, is to what degree is it make sense for students in today's day and age to continue to take 2 years of a language? There's someone that would argue that with the advent of AI, and the translatable services that are available. So again, I'm just saying that this is something that the committee probably should look at on a regular basis because things are moving very quickly.
Questions, comments from the committee?
Is it typical to not list the additional 30 elective credits here?
So the link for
It's
the
in the
program of studies, it would, because it's 2 pages. So just for like the 1 pager, we just cut it down to the actual required courses.
But if we bring the competency determination along with the program of studies, that would include the credit set.
Exactly, yes, exactly. And I'll be bringing forward by the end of the school year, the program of studies for your approval for next school year, because we'll be adding the addition of the ICP courses and some new electives, including the business electives.
Great.
Mr. Chair, is this an action item to approve
This
this
is also
time?
on an action item. This is action item E.
Would it be in order to take it out of order and just move?
Appropriate?
Yes.
I believe I will move to approve this competency determination criteria at this time.
I'll second.
Okay, motion made and second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
May I say one thing? If
Yes,
anybody would
absolutely.
like to join us on Friday at 1 p.m., bear with me, I want to make sure I have the correct time. It is 1 p.m. We will be giving a diploma, now that you've approved this, to a student who got a certificate of attendance previously from the class of 2024.
Oh, nice.
So I think that's so awesome. And then I will be reaching out to offer the same to the other student who reached out to me from the class of 2005.
Great,
Nice.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Quickly
Thank you
on
so
the-
much.
Doing that, Laura, where will that be done?
Probably in the guidance office.
The
Yes.
Career Center, maybe?
Yes.
Before I forget too quickly on this item, I know Ms. Miranda isn't here, maybe we can save it for then, but I know there was some preliminary discussion on what that would look like there. So I know there was talk of portfolio, maybe some other iteration of that based on what other districts have seen success with. Is there any, just?
The plan is
initial
to
thoughts on
start
that?
meeting very soon to kind of flesh that out for you and bring something back to the table for you very soon.
Great,
Yeah. And if Miss Miranda could have been here tonight, she would have been.
absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
All right, so we will move to our action agenda, the remaining items on our action agenda. Item A, review and act on school committee meeting minutes of Tuesday, March 18th, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. Item B, acknowledgement of the following: 3600 Westport Education Foundation grant for math camp, $4,780 Westport Education Foundation grant, LEAP Summer Enrichment Program, $1,500 WEF and Dassault Systems STEM kits, $750 donation from Bay Coast Bank for a 2025 senior dinner.
I'll make a motion to accept all the grants.
Second,
Motion made and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
just a thank you,
Yes.
as always.
Absolutely, yes. We rely heavily on the support of the generous organizations that provide grants to support our programming here and provide services to our students, so something we always recognize that. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's unanimous. And that
Let's see.
completes our action agenda. Routine matters, correspondences, and notices. I have none, other than to note that our next meeting, we have the town election happening next Tuesday, April 8th. There's more information on the town website on that, for folks who go out and vote in town. I would encourage participation in the town election. I think it's important that our voices are heard, so that's happening next Tuesday. Following that meeting, we will have 2 new school committee members, and we'll have a reorganization meeting following that election on Tuesday, April 15th, at our normal time in the auditorium. Topics the chair cannot reasonably anticipate 48 hours in advance of the meeting. I have none, other than before we adjourn to once again
To make
thank
a motion.
our 2 school committee members, Dr. Pacheco and Ms. Cabral, for your service and commitment to the community.
Mr. Chair, should we encourage them to open up their gifts?
We could post adjournment if, or now, whatever the pleasure of the committee is.
Is it gonna like? Thank you for the lollipops.
If you have a chocolate one, Michelle's upset about that. I just want you to know. I don't want to roll over on her, but
Oh, I got mine.
No, great.
Difference maker, that's really sweet. Thank you. Someone who can make a big difference in the world with just a few words or actions. An enthusiastic person who is dedicated to improving the lives of others and has the power to inspire and rally others to bring about positive change. Thank you.
Thank you. This is beautiful.
perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
Love it.
All right. This time, I will
Make-
entertain a motion
To adjourn?
to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
No, you say it.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting. Whatever you say.
I second.
Okay, motion made second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The meeting is adjourned.